Hello everybody. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Before we begin with today's vlog topic, which I filmed last week at this point, has to do with the 17 Honda Civic. Very weird problem I had with an evap code, so I will get into that obviously here in the video. But before we start today's video, I figured I would just take a moment to fill you guys in on a recent event that has taken place. Even though on this channel and throughout my vlog series, most of the content obviously revolves around the cars that I have and other various car related stuff, but this series has also been used to kind of, give you guys updates on my, personal life in different areas here and there. And that's what this particular intro is going to be about. So at this point in time, 4 days ago, I lost my dad. My dad, who has been fighting with lung cancer for a few years now, couple years. He passed away in the early morning of November 8th. I'm mentioning this to you because my dad has, pretty much shaped a lot of the interests that I've been in since I was a kid. He was the one who pretty much got me into cars at a younger age. I've mentioned it in various vlogs over the years where I've talked about some of the vehicles that we've once had as I was growing up. But I would watch him, tear things apart, try to fix things. The very first time I saw an oil change was him doing it on our 95 Plymouth Voyager. The first time I'd ever seen internal components of an engine was when he did the valve cover gasket on the 92 Plymouth Voyager that we had. And there are other situations, where, I've watched him work on other various cars that we've had, just never documented any of it. But a lot of what he did with the cars is pretty much what kind of inspired me to learn more as I got older, and just kept me fascinated with just overall taking things apart and seeing how things worked, putting things back together. Even cleaning an old school VCR head, taking the top off and watching him use rubbing alcohol to clean the heads carefully, and a tactic that I've used over and over again on my own VCRs that I keep running for all the old footage I have and my old camcorders and such. Stuff that will stick with me. A lot of the things that I've watched him do still stick with me to this day. And not only the car content, but my dad also bought me my first guitar, or gave me my first guitar. And it took me a while, but eventually, a few years after I got that guitar, I finally got serious and learned how to play it. And my dad played guitar through a lot of his younger years, and even as he got older, he played here and there. But in the beginning, he kind of showed me where to go, and from there I just pretty much self-taught myself. But the point I'm trying to say is, my dad is responsible for a lot of the interests that I have today in music and in cars. So without my dad, I would not be in the career field that I am as an automotive technician, and there probably would be no Mike's Vehicle vlogs. There probably wouldn't be a Mike's Vehicle Spotlight if you have been following this channel for a long time. So this has been a very hard few days, and I know it's not going to get any easier at the moment. It's going to be a while, but I just wanted to start this vlog off by letting everybody know who watches this, and I just overall just want to thank my dad for everything that he has done for me in the last 38 years of my life. So that is pretty much it. Don't mean to bring anybody down watching this, but I'm sure I will see some comments about this, so I'll just say already thank you for, you know, everybody's condolences, and that's just all I've got for now. So it's gonna take time. Time will heal everything, but I'm just honestly glad that he is finally able to have some peace. The last few months have been really bad for him, and he can finally rest and is no longer in pain. So let's go ahead and start the vlog. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's topic. I love you, Dad. Well, hello there, everybody. I really wasn't planning on vlogging tonight, but something came up, and well, we need to look into this because I am quite curious. Quite curious. I just went for a drive in the 17 Honda Civic, and she threw a check engine light at me. Not what I was expecting. Imagine my surprise. This has been quite the last couple months with the 17 Civic. First the water leak, which turned out to be the body seam in the back, and now the now we got a check engine light. So it's late. It's not that late. We just turned the clocks back this past weekend, so it looks later than it is. Honestly, it is 6:39, and it looks like it's like 9 o'clock outside. Technically, it's not really all that late. I just want to see what codes are in it. I'm very curious. It's not running differently. It's driving fine. Check engine lights on. No other lights are on. Sometimes with a Honda, in a lot of cases, if it's like a fuel mixture issue or something, if it's that kind of code, it'll throw lights for everything, because that system, you know, the engine emissions will affect, you know, the ABS system, the traction control. All of these lights will come on. So we just have a check engine light. I just want to get some codes out of it so I can do my research, and not just that, I want to know if it is anything real severe, because, you know, if it's going to be a big problem, obviously I don't want to drive it. I don't want anything to happen to that car. You know, obviously that's my baby, that's my good one. So let's go find out what codes we got. Like I said, it looks like it's like so late, but it's not. All right, so where are we mileage wise? Let's turn that off for now. 91, almost 92,000 miles, so 91,985 is where we are. There should be. Yeah, and another thing I noticed too is usually like when you're driving this car and you go to, you know, you let off the gas and like the little eco meter, you know, is all the way into like fuel saving, like when you're coasting. You guys know this, you've seen the videos. These little bars up here will turn green to let you know that, you know, you're being most fuel efficient. Well, those colors don't even change now. They stay this color. So that system has obviously been affected by whatever the light is on for. So I'm gonna shut this off for a moment, hook up the Altel here, and then we'll just do the key on, engine off thing for codes. Alright, so yeah, I'm very surprised. You know, just for the heck of it, let's do auto scan. We might as well go with all of the systems just to make sure that we're not missing anything. So shift to park and neutral, Two codes in the PGMFI. One of those could be pending, one could be, you know, a set code. Alright, so it's just about done. At this point, it's, you know, trying to read from modules that this car doesn't have, so, 6 modules. Everything's good except for this, so, let's take a look here. Okay, drum roll. It is an evap. Evap system, very small leak detected. Interesting. So P0456. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably do more with this, you know, like tomorrow. I'll look into, obviously, you know, what the possibilities are with this particular car. Let's go ahead and start it real quick anyway. It could be the fuel filler neck. So sometimes they call it a shutter valve. We're on these capless fuel tanks where the flap, you know, the flap goes bad. Yeah, so evap leak stuff, yeah, usually here at the house we can't really do anything with that. Now, you know, if I put gas in it and I have a hard start afterwards, you know, we know chances are it's the purge valve. But yeah, some places, like I said, it could be the filler neck. Just recently found out under the seat in this car, under the seat is where the fuel pump is. And literally at work, one of our technicians just had a Civic very similar to this one come in because the locking ring on the top of the pump corroded and it cracked the top of the fuel pump. So if the tank isn't sealed, that's going to give it a leak. So it could, hate to say that, it could be that. So maybe this thing needs a fuel pump. I don't know. So as of right now, there's not, like I said, a whole lot we can do with this. Alright, so yeah, overall, see our fuel trims there in percentages. So we're taking fuel away from the looks of it. Not much, but you know, it seems to be running okay just sitting here. But looks like it is taking fuel away a smidge. But like I said, it's still around 0%, and that's kind of where you want those two things to be. So not too terrible. Really doesn't seem like anything to be worried about now. But I'm only saying that because if it is trying to take fuel away, then maybe that evap purge valve could possibly be stuck open ever so slightly. and it is, you know, could be causing, you know, a small rich condition that the PCM picked up on, so it's trying to compensate by taking fuel away. Now whether that's large enough, like I said, to actually set that, I don't know. Distance traveled while mill activated, 6 miles. Commanded evap purge, 18.8%. Fuel levels kind of bouncing around there. Evap system vapor pressure, that's kind of going everywhere also. Alright, so coolant temperature, we're at 188, sensor 1, sensor 2 is at 185, so the system is fully circulating, so yeah, that's fine, nothing wrong with that. That's it, okay. That's all we can do for tonight. I'll keep you guys posted. Alright guys, so it's the next day. We got some terrible lighting going on. I'm sorry, I got the camera kind of positioned in a temporary spot, really. So yeah, we got answers, and unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately, a little bit of both, you know, but yeah, so the evap leak turned out to be the fuel pump assembly, you know, as I kind of mentioned last night. So the guy I work with, he called it. He it's just really bizarre because he literally just told me last week that he had a Civic. Like I said, it was just like, I think it might have been the same year, but he said, you know, the metal lock ring on the top got really corroded, really rusty, you know, and expanded, you know, as stuff that corrodes usually does, and it'll crack the top of the you know, the fuel pump assembly. Therefore, the tank is leaking, and you know, if it gets bad enough, in this case, mine did get bad enough. It set a P0456 code. So the one that he had did not have any codes, but the customer, I guess, was actually saying, hey, I smell gasoline. Like, they actually had the smell of gasoline. I didn't get the smell of gasoline. Honestly, I didn't know there was anything wrong with it. But he was telling me last week, he was like, you might want to take your back seat apart, take a look at that ring, take a look at the top of that pump, see if you got any cracks going on, or even if the ring itself is bad. And if the ring's bad, you know, he said you might want to replace it. So needless to say, here we are. Last night, car finally decided to set a code because the leak was bad enough. I still didn't smell gas, so I didn't smell gas until I took the back seat apart at work earlier today, and there's a little tin cover that covers up the fuel pump assembly, you know, from inside the car there. So you take that cover off, and when I took the cover off and put my nose up, you know, closer to the pump, yeah, you can smell the gas. And in fact, the lock ring was so corroded. I mean, it's completely unusable. It's done. So yeah, unfortunately, that is what happened. So we got the ring off. Actually, before we even took the ring off, you can see, I have pictures since you guys couldn't really be there with me, but you can kind of see off to the side where it looks like the tank, you know, actually started to leak, or it started to leak onto the tank, probably when, you know, the tank was full. So this was cracked for quite a while, and once we got the ring off and we took the fuel pump assembly out, kind of cleaned off the top a little bit, there were a lot of cracks, and actually a part of the assembly broke off completely. So Yeah, in fact, the guy I work with said this pump is a lot worse than the one that he actually replaced last week. So mine was kind of cracked all over. How this plays out financially, I will say this. When I bought that car back in 2022, and the dealership offered me one of those extended warranty programs, I did buy it. I decided to go ahead and actually do that, honestly, because of the CVT. The first car that I've ever had with a CVT, and I thought, you know what, just to put my mind at ease, even though I don't really think anything's going to happen, maybe I should, sign up for this warranty, and that way it kind of gave me a little bit of peace of mind. This warranty is good, at least for me, until sometime in 2028. And the mileage on the car, I think it expires, if it's mileage wise, it's somewhere around 110 or 111,000 miles. I'll have to look at the paperwork again. But let me tell you something. In this case, this was a good decision to have, because this warranty, I decided because of the cost, and yes, the cost of all of this together. And, this is including, labor and stuff, almost $1,200. So, yeah, the pump alone is somewhere between 6 and 7. So, I don't really have that right now. To be quite honest, that's, kind of a lot. And I honestly don't want an aftermarket pump, in there. Normally how this would work, just the unit itself where it was cracked, which is the top of the pump, and the carrier for the actual pump motor itself. That's all that would have to be kind of replaced. You would reuse the actual fuel pump itself. You would reuse the float. But since my car is coming up on 100,000 miles, the warranty company actually said that they would cover the entire pump assembly, so I don't have to reuse anything, and that's including a new lock ring, a new gasket for the inside there, and the entire fuel pump itself. So in this case, all I have to pay is a $100 deductible. Yeah, so I wasn't thinking that I was ever going to have to use that warranty. I was hoping I never would have had to, but in this case, the situation actually did qualify it, and the pump is being taken care of at just $100 my cost. So that's a big sign of relief. Now, honestly, this situation, it's not the worst of situation. It's not affecting the way the engine's running or anything. It's going to obviously keep that evap code, because we do have a leak, fuel vapor into the atmosphere. The whole point of the evap system is to monitor that and make sure that, we're not polluting the atmosphere. It's just an environmental, thing, to keep cars running not only, more efficiently in most cases, but also keeping the environment away from all those bad hydrocarbons. But eventually with the condition of how mine was, obviously the gas was starting to spill out. It looks like, when the tank is full or heavily sloshing, gas is making its way out of those cracks. And, eventually I probably would have started to smell gas, So the point I'm trying to make is the car is still completely drivable. But the condition would worsen. And if gas itself is actually, making its way out, that's obviously a hazard. But it's not really affecting the drivability of the car, Needless to say, since the car, is still my main source of transportation, and it's a car that I am still paying on at this time, I would like to have it taken care of. So in this case, the warranty was definitely, a really good thing. And that's all I really have to say. So, unfortunately, this is not a repair that's going to happen at the house. It is a repair that's going to happen at the shop.
just because of the fact of it being warranty and the old pump and stuff. Like I said, I got the pictures that I probably have already shown you guys of what the situation looks like. So basically, she just needs a new pump. She's getting a new pump. It should be here either tomorrow or the day after from Honda. And all I got to do is pay $100 and have it installed. And that should take care of this evap problem. So that's it. I know there really wasn't a whole lot to the video. I'm sorry there wasn't more hands-on or anything. I couldn't really do, you know, a whole lot of that while I was inspecting this at work. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy how something, you know, like this. This is just like one of those things that, you know, can kind of get swept under the rug. You know, for a second there, you know, I was thinking, oh, you know, it could be a purge valve. You know, it's something very common. You know, even a broken, you know, evap line or a cracked hose or something like that. Could have even been the fuel. You know, like I said, the fuel inlet shutter, the little flap there. Those have a tendency to break or get dirty, and not, you know, the seal gets bad. You know, stuff like that. But this is a very interesting one, and apparently, obviously from what we had in the shop last week, and even from what I've seen on the Honda technician forums, you know, this is a pretty common thing for these rings to do that. They crack, and even if you smoke test some of these, you know, there was one Honda post that I saw where the technician did a whole smoke test, did an evap test, everything passed. So finally, you know, when there was nothing obvious, they had to, you know, actually go and inspect every bit of the fuel system. And when they got to the top of the tank and they saw the ring, they took pictures also, and big old crack right down the middle. In this case, there it was, you know. So this is a really I guess special case, you know, as far as, you know, how that goes. Why does the camera look like it's kind of fuzzy on my face? I don't know. It's really focusing on the background more, but that's okay because this video is over. So, she's getting a new fuel pump, and I shouldn't have to worry about that again. In fact, when the new ring comes and stuff, we're going to spray, you know, fluid film or something around that. So that way, you know, this should never happen again on this car. If you found this interesting, if I gave you something to maybe look into, if you're having a weird evap problem like this, you know, or if it's something that maybe you want to kind of look into as a precaution, who knows. But either way, if you enjoyed this, thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.